I used to blow dry my hair the exact same way for 15 years and wonder why nothing about my face looked like it used to. Nobody tells you that the wrong haircut can quietly add a decade to your face, and the right one can just as quietly take it back off. Tonight I'm breaking down 3 haircuts that soften every line on your face and make you look years younger, and 3 that women over 60 keep choosing that are working against them without them ever realizing it. I researched the biggest style and beauty mistakes women over 50 make, and the fixes that actually work, so you don't have to guess. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, do it now, because I cover this every single week. Part 1. The 2 cuts that take years off instantly. Here's the part nobody explains to you when you're standing in the salon chair with a photo on your phone. The haircuts that make women over 60 look younger almost never involve cutting length off. It's the opposite instinct of what most of us have. We think shorter equals fresher, equals younger, equals, I finally let go of trying. But a blunt short cut with no movement can actually harden the face, especially once the jawline has softened and the cheeks have less lift than they used to. What actually removes years is something much more specific, and it has to do with where the hair breaks around your face, not how much of it you keep. The first cut is the long, soft layered bob that sits somewhere between the chin and the collarbone, with layers that start around the cheekbone. This length does something almost nobody explains. It draws the eye up and along the jaw instead of straight down and out, which is what a blunt one-length cut does. When hair falls in one heavy sheet past the shoulders, it pulls the whole face downward with it, and gravity is already working against you enough. A soft layered bob interrupts that pull. The layers catch light differently at different points, which creates the illusion of lift right where you need it, at the cheekbone and jaw. What changes when you actually do this is subtle but real. Friends stop saying you look nice and start saying, did you do something? Because it's not obvious what changed, only that something did. That's the mark of a genuinely good haircut over 60. It doesn't scream for attention. It just quietly recalibrates the whole picture of your face. Ask your stylist specifically for face-framing layers that begin at the cheekbone, not the chin, because that half inch of placement is the entire difference between a cut that lifts you and one that just sits there. The second cut on the younger side is the curtain fringe, but styled with intention, not just grown out and pushed to the side. A curtain fringe splits softly down the center and sweeps past the temples, and it does something almost no other single change can do at this age. It softens the forehead and temple area, which is usually where the first visible signs of thinning and fine lines show up first, and it does it without covering the eyes or looking like you're hiding behind your hair. The snapback result with a curtain fringe done correctly is immediate in a way most cuts aren't. People read fringe as either trying too hard or effortlessly put together. And the difference is entirely in the placement and the movement. A fringe that's cut too blunt, too straight across, ages the face by making it look flat and staged. But one that's cut with movement, longer at the outer edges and swept back from the center part, reads as soft, current, and alive. It's the single fastest change on this list, because it's visible the second you walk into a room, before anyone even registers the rest of your hair. Here's the part that ties both of these together, and it's the thing most women miss when they're choosing a cut off a photo instead of thinking about their own face. Both of these cuts work because they create movement near the face rather than length away from it. Length away from the face, especially heavy, one-length, pulls everything down. Movement near the face, layers at the cheekbone, fringe at the temple, does the opposite. It lifts. That's the whole secret hiding inside these 2 haircuts. And it's the reason they consistently show up as the 2 most requested. You look so refreshed cuts for women over 60. Picture the actual before and after here, because it's worth sitting with. Before. Hair grown out past the shoulders in one heavy length, no layers, parted straight down the middle out of habit rather than choice, pulling the whole face down and adding visible weight to the jaw and cheeks. After. A soft layered bob at the collarbone with cheekbone level layers, and a swept curtain fringe framing the temples, catching light at the cheek and lifting the whole face upward. Same woman, same bone structure, completely different first impression. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because the next 2 haircuts on this list are ones a huge number of women over 60 are wearing right now, convinced they're doing the safe, classic, age-appropriate thing. And one of them is quietly adding years to their face every single day. Part 2. The one cut aging your whole face right now. This is the one nobody wants to hear. And I'll say it plainly instead of dancing around it. The short, tightly cropped, uniform pixie with no texture and no movement is quietly aging a huge number of women over 60. And most of them chose it specifically because they thought it would do the opposite. I understand exactly why this cut feels like the safe, mature, I've got my life together choice. It's tidy. It's low maintenance. It photographs as confident. But there's a specific mechanical problem with it that has nothing to do with confidence, and everything to do with what happens to bone structure and skin over time. As we age, most faces lose some volume and definition along the jaw and cheek, and skin naturally softens and settles a bit lower than it used to sit. A very short, very uniform crop with no length or texture anywhere removes the one thing that was quietly compensating for that. Soft framing around the face. Long hair, even shoulder-length hair, drapes and catches light in a way that creates a gentle visual buffer around the jaw and neck. A tight uniform crop removes that buffer completely and puts the jawline, neck, and any softness there fully on display with nothing to balance it. It's not that short hair is the problem. It's specifically short hair with zero texture and zero length variation that does this. You can see this play out constantly in real life, actually, if you start paying attention to it. Two women, same age, same bone structure roughly, one wearing this severe cropped cut, and one wearing a soft short cut with texture on top and slight length at the nape, and the second one reads as noticeably younger, even though both cuts are technically short hair for older women. The difference is entirely in texture and softness, not length. Here's the fix, and it's a smaller adjustment than you'd think, which is honestly the good news buried inside this. You don't need to grow your hair out or abandon short hair if that's genuinely what you love and what feels like you. What needs to change is texture. Ask your stylist for a pixie or short crop with a longer, textured top that has some movement and can be swept slightly to one side, rather than combed flat and uniform. Ask for the sides and back to stay clean and short, but the crown and top to have length variation. Some pieces longer than others, so there's softness catching the light instead of one flat plane. The snapback the moment you make this change is almost immediate, and it's specific. People stop commenting on the haircut itself and start commenting on your eyes and your face, because the texture on top draws attention up and inward instead of leaving the jaw and neck as the only visual focus in the frame. That's the entire mechanism behind why this small textural shift reads as 5, sometimes closer to 10, years younger than the flat uniform version of the same length. There's a second thing worth naming honestly here, because it matters just as much as the cut itself. A severely short, flat crop also tends to expose more scalp along the part and crown, which at this age can catch overhead lighting in a way that reads as thinning, even in hair that isn't actually thinning much at all. Texture and slight volume at the crown solves this too, almost as a side effect, because volume naturally diffuses light instead of letting it hit the scalp directly. So here's the real before and after on this one. And it's worth being specific because get some texture can sound vague until you see it named clearly. Before, a tight, uniform, flat crop with no length variation anywhere, jaw and neck fully exposed with nothing to soften them, scalp catching overhead light at the crown. After, the same short length kept clean at the sides and nape, but with textured, slightly longer pieces on top swept to one side, catching light and adding visual softness right where the face needs it. If you're currently wearing this exact cut, and feeling a little exposed by how specifically I just described it, you're not alone, and it's an easy fix, not a full overhaul. But there's a second haircut mistake coming up that's even more common than this one. And it's hiding in plain sight on women who think they're doing everything right. Part 3. The trendy cut working against you, and the one that's quietly perfect. Let's talk about the haircut that's everywhere right now. The one you've probably seen a dozen times scrolling through your phone. The extremely blunt, razor-sharp, one-length lob, cut with almost no layering and a hard, geometric edge along the bottom. It photographs beautifully on younger faces with sharp, defined jawlines. On a lot of women over 60, it does something very different, and almost nobody flags it before they're sitting in the chair with the cut already half done. A hard blunt edge draws a straight horizontal line directly at the point where it ends. And if that line lands right at the jaw, which is exactly where this cut is usually styled to sit, it visually underlines and boxes in the softest, most changeable part of an older face. Instead of the hair softly blending into the jawline, the sharp cut line creates contrast against it, and contrast draws the eye. The eye goes exactly where you don't want it going first. Straight to the hardest, most defined edge in the frame, which sits right where the jaw has naturally softened with age. This is the mistake I see most often actually, more than the short crop, because it comes from good intentions. Women see this cut looking sharp and modern on someone else and assume sharp and modern will read the same way on them. But modern doesn't automatically mean flattering, and a haircut has to work with your actual bone structure, not just with what's trending. The fix isn't to abandon a shorter, chin to collarbone length if that's what you want. The fix is softening the edge itself. Ask your stylist to point cut or razor the ends instead of blunt cutting them straight across, and to let the length land slightly below the jaw rather than exactly at it, even by half an inch. Point cutting breaks up that hard horizontal line into soft, irregular pieces, so instead of one sharp edge drawing attention to the jaw, you get gentle, feathered movement that blends into it. That half inch of extra length below the jaw does something else too. It gives the eye a small buffer of softness between the sharpest point of the cut and the actual jawline, instead of the two landing on top of each other. The result of this small change is genuinely dramatic once you see it side by side. The same length, the same basic shape, but softened at the ends and dropped half an inch lower, reads as elegant and current instead of severe. It's the difference between a haircut that looks like it's working against your face and one that looks like it was actually designed for it. That's the entire idea behind good hairdressing at this age. Adapting a trend to the face in front of you instead of copying it exactly as shown. Now for the second cut in this part, and this one is a genuine win, something you can walk into your next appointment and request with confidence. The shag, specifically a modern softly layered shag that hits somewhere around the shoulders with heavy layering throughout and a bit of natural texture, is one of the most quietly flattering cuts for women over 60 right now, and it's criminally underused. It works because it does everything the blunt lob doesn't. Instead of one hard line, it's built entirely out of soft, uneven layers stacked throughout the whole head, so there's no single sharp edge anywhere for the eye to fixate on. The layering in a shag also does something specific for volume, which matters more with age because hair naturally loses some density over time. Because the layers are stacked rather than left in one heavy piece, each section has room to move and lift instead of sitting flat under its own weight. That lift reads as fullness and health, even on hair that's actually a bit finer than it used to be. It's one of the only cuts that manages to look effortless and undone while genuinely working hard, structurally, to solve two problems at once: softness around the face and volume throughout. Here's the before and after that sums up this whole part. Before: a severe blunt lob with a hard geometric edge landing right at the jaw, drawing a sharp line straight across the softest part of the face. After: a softly layered shag at the shoulders with feathered ends and volume built through stacked layering. No single hard line anywhere, movement and softness in every direction. I've saved the last one for a reason, because it's the mistake I get asked about more than almost anything else, and the reason nobody catches it is that it doesn't even feel like a haircut choice. It feels like a color choice, but it changes everything about how a haircut reads. Part 4. The mistake hiding inside your color, not your cut. Here's the one that catches almost everyone off guard, because by the time you're reading this you might be thinking about layers and lengths and completely overlooking the thing that actually determines whether any of those cuts age you or de-age you. Uniform, flat, single-process hair color with absolutely no dimension, especially on gray or graying hair that's been colored back to one solid, opaque shade. A completely flat, single-tone color, whether it's a solid brown, a solid dark shade covering gray entirely, or even gray that's been left with zero tonal variation, does something quietly damaging to the face that has nothing to do with the cut underneath it. Flat color removes all shadow and light play from the hair itself. And that shadow and light play is actually doing real work, subtly, to soften and shape the face the same way good layering does. Without it, even a genuinely great cut can end up looking harsher and heavier than it actually is, because the color sits like a solid block instead of moving with the shape of the cut. This is the mistake that quietly undoes everything else on this list. Honestly, you could get the perfect soft layered bob with the perfect curtain fringe, but if the color underneath it is one flat, opaque tone with no lift or shadow anywhere. The softness of the cut gets flattened right back out by the color sitting on top of it like a solid coat of paint. The cut and the color have to work together, and almost nobody explains that connection clearly, which is exactly why this mistake is so common even among women who've done everything else right. The fix here is dimension, specifically soft, low-contrast highlights or lowlights placed strategically around the face, at the temples, through the crown, and along any face-framing pieces, rather than an all-over solid application. If you're staying gray or transitioning to gray, this still applies. Fully uniform gray with zero variation can look just as flat as fully uniform dye. Ask for subtle, soft-blended silver or platinum pieces woven through, particularly around the face, so there's still light and shadow moving through the hair instead of one solid block of tone. The result of adding dimension, even subtle dimension, is that the face immediately reads as more three-dimensional too, not just the hair. That sounds strange until you see it happen, but it's genuinely how the eye works. Flat color flattens the whole picture, face included. Dimensional color, even soft, barely there dimension, adds depth back into the hair. And that depth pulls the eye toward the parts of the face with the most natural light and shadow already, cheekbones, temples, the crown, rather than settling flat across everything at once. There's a specific detail worth naming here too, because it's the part almost nobody thinks to ask for by name. The most flattering placement for this dimension, on almost every face, is concentrated slightly heavier around the hairline and face framing pieces and softer through the back and underneath. That's the opposite of how a lot of all-over color or all-over highlight jobs are done, evenly distributed across the whole head. Concentrating the lightest, most dimensional pieces specifically where they frame the face is what makes the difference show up exactly where you want people looking. Here's the before and after that closes out this whole video. And it's the one that ties every part together. Before, flat single process, opaque color with zero tonal variation anywhere, sitting heavy and solid regardless of the cut underneath it. After, soft low contrast dimension concentrated around the face and hairline, adding light, shadow, and depth that works together with the cut instead of flattening it. Put these four things together, the two cuts that lift, the two mistakes that quietly age, and the color that ties it all together, and you've got the complete picture almost nobody hands you in one place. Most of us figure this out haircut by haircut, over years, usually the hard way. So now you know exactly which cuts to walk in and ask for by name. The soft layered bob with cheekbone layers, the curtain fringe swept at the temples, the point cut lob, the modern shag and dimensional color around the face, and exactly which flat crop, hard blunt edge, and flat opaque color to quietly steer away from. That's not guesswork anymore, that's a plan. Tell me honestly in the comments. Which one of these 6 were you already doing without realizing it? The good one or the one working against you? Next week I'm breaking down the exact question to ask your colorist, so you never leave the salon with the wrong tone again. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.